Munford, and I'm a teaching artist for Bridges. And I'm going to help you make a describing tool for your artistic medium to help you do the notice, describe, and ask practice with your students. I'll show you how I created a tool to help me talk to students about their work creating 3D butcher paper sculptures for storytelling. The describing tool clarifies the artistic choices that students can make in the work that they're doing or in the session or the project that you're working on. And you want to make sure that you have rich and specific words to reflect their choices back to them with. This is the template for the describing tool. So you can see that on the left-hand side, this is where we're thinking about what are all the ways that you can explore or play in the art form? How can you change your medium to create something? And then on the right-hand side, you're thinking about all the different words you could use to describe those choices. So now I'll show you the example that I made for my project with my students. So on the left-hand side, we're thinking about all the different ways you could explore and play with butcher paper and tape and perhaps the occasional staple. And then on the right-hand side, I'm thinking about the words I could use to describe those choices. So for the first choice that the students could make, I was thinking about how they could manipulate the paper in different ways. And then on the right-hand side, the describing words are for all the different ways that they could manipulate the paper. And there are definitely more, but here are just some of the ones that I think of first. They could be twisting the paper or scrunching or ripping or folding the paper or wrapping the paper around itself or something else. And this is just a list to get me started. And I don't think it's important to think so deeply, but I think it is important to think specifically of the words you're going to use to describe what something looks like or sounds like or feels like, depending on the art form. And it might feel a little dumb to just describe stuff without interpreting it, but that's really where the value lies. And having good words in your back pocket already planned really helps set you up for success in this moment. And other ways that kids could make choices with the 3D butcher paper sculptures would be like texture. They could make decisions about the texture of how they're using the paper. So it might be smooth is a way I could describe it, crumpled or bumpy. I might describe it as looking kinetic, like it's moving almost. There's movement to the texture of the paper. Another way that students could be engaging and making choices with the paper is building support structures. Because it's three-dimensional, they may be making choices about how they're going to support the structure of that three-dimensional object that they're making. So ways that I could describe that building support structure part would be, oh, I noticed that you created an internal support. It's supporting from the inside. This part collapses. You made something that's collapsible. I could name that they're using the paper and the tape to help something stand up. And the way that they layered paper and tape together or use those materials together, that would be something I could describe. Is something stiff or floppy? Is something really tight or loose in an area? These are all just kind of more neutral words that I could use to describe the choices that they're making within the art form. So the describing tool really helps me describe all students' work with equal enthusiasm. And it reminds me what else to say when kind of my implicit judgments arise in my mind, or if I'm not really into something in particular. This helps me kind of have something that can check my language and really help me focus on all the students and all of their choices. And I like to look at it before class just to kind of have it in my mind. And then I like to have it around me during class to jog my memory. I might be really noticing one particular student's work, but students are making choices across the board, and I may just need help reminding myself that there are ways to describe those choices. And I know some Bridges educators who even hang up their different ways of describing this tool exactly. They may blow it up and put it into a classroom, or maybe project it on a smartboard in some way in the classroom. And then it's valuable for yourself and the students alike to be able to reference it and use these words to describe each other's choices. So the describing tool really keeps us focused on how the students are using materials to express and find ideas. And even if they go off topic, you can describe in the same way. I have an example of this I want to share with you. When working with butcher paper, I had a student make an amazing but perfect paper airplane. And often we might think like, oh no, they've made a paper airplane. That's not the assignment. We're doing 3D butcher paper sculptures. But because I was able to use this describing tool to just describe what the student had done, things like, I see that you folded the paper into triangle shapes and then folded those shapes in on themselves again. And on this part down here, it's flat, but it almost feels like I could hold on to it with my hand so that I could move or manipulate this object. Being able to describe all of these different things, the student then, instead of seeing a paper airplane, got excited to share with me the idea that this could be the head of a puppet.